Hello everyone. Today we'll discuss Henrik Ibsen's Adult's House as a feminist play. Henrik Ibsen was a prominent poet and dramatist of the 19th century. Actually, he is one of the most important dramatists and poets of the 19th century, and we consider him one of the most famous dramatists after Shakespeare. He wrote many plays for the social cause. He concentrates on the idea of society. He likes to reconstruct society, to save society from its illnesses. Adolph's House is also one of his influential plays in which he raised the voice in favor of women. So in this play, he doesn't only concentrate on society, but particularly on women. He sought equality for men and women, which he subsequently presented in this play through the character of Nora Helmer. So start to search not only for solving the problems of society, but at this play he tries to solve the problem of between women and men and searches for the equality between them through the character of Nora Helmer. This paper actually, or this article, or this part start to analyze the play on feminist grounds. We'll start to analyze the play, but on the feminist grounds. In this play, Nora seeks individuality and autonomous selfhood, which she acquires in terms of breaking the shackles of gender rules of mother and wife. So Nora Helmer, from the very beginning, she was a mother and a wife. But at the same time, after some details or incident in the play, she has transformed totally and tried to break the shackles of gender rules as being a mother and a wife at the same time. Henrik John Ibsen, 1828 till 1906, is a significant Norwegian poet and dramatist. He is known as the most influential man of the theater in the 19th century. He has been a source of great influence for many playwrights of the 19th century as well as 20th century. So he is a very important example in the field of drama. Start to be a model, start to be an influence of different people in 19th century and 20th century in the field of drama. His influence on George Bernard Shaw is especially notable. It was a social drama, or the drama of ideas, which he particularly propagated. He likes start to study on the drama of society, start to reflect. He reflects all the ideas of the society, which are passive ones, on his plays, and try to discuss them and try to find solutions for different issues in the society. And at the same time, in this play, Adolph's House, for the social problems between men and women, the problems of equality, of gender dominance in Adolph's House. His major works are Love's Comedy, The Pretenders, Brand, Beer Gun, The League of Youth, Pillars of Society, Adolph's House, Ghosts, and Any of the People, The Wild Duck, Rosmer Sholm, The Lady from the Sea, Heather Gabler. Henrik Ibsen has a lot of important plays in 19th century, and those most of his plays discusses different social issues at that time. The play Adolph's House was written in the 19th century when women were struggling for economic and social rights equal to men in society. So he was affected by the economic and social problems or social rights that the women like to acquire or to have in society at that time. Most of the women act passively as they are expected to not to go outside their houses, and childbearing and child rearing were their main role in the family. So at that time, actually, the woman has one main mission: to take care of her husband and her children, to bring them up, no more no less. So At that time, they have the idea to be equal with the male, to be away from the gender dominance, the male dominance, the patriarchal dominance. So in this play, actually, Henric Ibsen start to reflect the idea of that most of women act passively, and they only take care of the domestic duties, their husband, their children, and they don't actively participate in society. In the words of Marianne Passivity, so he start to discuss the problems of the social passivity assigned to women in a male-oriented society. So according to this critic, actually, she mentioned that Henric Ibsen in this play tries to follow the passiveness of the passivity of the social problems that start to be assigned to women in the society which is characterized by patriarchal dominance. It was a time when men and women had been following the age-long traditions as they were assigned specific rules to play. So at that time, he likes to criticize the idea of the role of everyone is they are not completing each other, but the woman is inferior, and the male looks at the woman as an inferior figure in society. Not only has Ibsen been regarded as a feminist writer, but also he is regarded as a socialist and humanist. His advocacy for women's rights lies in his advocacy for equal treatment of them in society. He emphasizes more on the equality for men and women's struggle for identity. So before dealing with the comment of this critic, actually we like to sum up those ideas. Because Ibsen was a socialist and humanist, he tries to search for passive ideas in society. One of them was the relationship between men and women, and he doesn't like the passivity of the relationship between them, and they marginalize the state of women in society. Because he likes to solve everything in society, he looks at everything from a humanitarian point of view. So he searches for the rights of women to not be destroyed to that extent in society. He emphasized more in the equality for both of them. For this reason, we have such idea of a critic which is called Razi Islami. Noura attempts to show the journey of such a woman as she gradually comes to the conclusion that her life and identity are a lie. They live a lie, actually. They only concentrate on one idea of humiliation of the woman, and only concentrate on some ideas, some beauties, not to think out of the books. So she gradually comes to the conclusion that her life and identity are a lie, and her real needs and aspirations go beyond the bounds of her marriage. So only marriage, only husband, only house, only children. She couldn't think out of those matters. In fact, the play was written during a time when women were enslaved in their gender roles and where certain restrictions were enforced on them by male-dominant culture. So the play actually reflected the idea of that woman is enslaved and restricted by the dominant culture of the patriarchy. It was a system of patriarchy in which every woman was raised believing that they had neither self-control nor self-government, but that they must yield to the control of dominant male gender. So Ibsen likes to criticize the idea of a woman who is enslaved and restricted by male-dominated culture, which the domination of patriarchy over the female, and she doesn't have any self-control or self-government. She is under the control of the male all the time, even her father, brother, husband. This is the society of the 19th century. In that society, men were individuals and wrote laws, prosecuted the criminals, and judged women on their own point of view. They don't look at the woman as a human being, but she looks at women according to their point of view, and this point of view is start to be shaped according to patriarchal society, patriarchal dominance culture. Although Ibsen communicates strong ideas about women's rights, the play also contains issues of imprisonment of men in the ruling patriarchal system and society. It is those rules and norms of society that are boldly questioned by Ibsen through the relationship of Thorvald and Nora, the unequal power sharing of men and women. As Abdel Basir remarks, the society is a male-dominated society where language is a tool in the hands of the dominating gender and is utilized fully to create an impression of ruler and be ruled, possessor and possessed, supervisor and subservient. So even language, Ibsen tries to reflect the idea that we are that the woman is in a male-dominated society, and the language of the male even start to be used to humiliate the woman when Helmer to start to use some names when they start to call her spoiler, squirrel, things like this, to make her under her control. So he is a ruler, she is ruled. He is possessor, she is possessed. He is supervisor, she is subservient. Another notable point is the anti-feminist language used by Helmer. He uses animal terms to refer to Nora, and this is an example, an evidence of a woman image inside the male mind. He uses animal terms so Helmer, the husband, start to use some animal term to refer to Nora, his wife, such as skylark, squirrel, and singing bird, which suggests that Helmer doesn't love Nora as an equal and treats her like a pet. Even more, he calls her a possession, as if she were a thing and not an individual with a separate identity. So when start to all the time to stress the idea that Helmer start to possess, start to have Nora under her control. She is one of his possessions actually, and she doesn't have a separate identity. His use of demeaning terms that start to be out of respect. Demeaning terms highlight the society norm of treating women as inferior. Moreover, Helmer is portrayed as having the powerful in their relationship, as he controls all the money and gives it Nora as gifts. So she doesn't have any idea that she should be responsible for any money in the house. She only has money in a form of a gift, and at the same time he uses inferior language with her and makes her as one of his possessions. He lacks identity with his existence with Helmer. Even she is very afraid to, in the very beginning of the play, to make Helmer sees her eats macarons. So this is actually something which is very humiliating, to not be able to eat what you like in front of your husband. From a feministic perspective, the society of that time gives both the sexist stereotypical social rules to play. It doesn't give them freedom to explore who they are and what they want to be. So the play likes to reflect the sexist stereotypical, the ideas that are dominated in society. And those ideas are that they don't have freedom to explore, and they couldn't do what they like to do. Nora and Helmer are faithfully conforming to their social rules. Nora, for example, fulfills the role of a dutiful wife and mother. She doesn't work and stays at home and takes care of her children, but she is not really fulfilled or self-actualized through this role. The role of wife and mother doesn't bring out all her potential. So Ibsen likes to show that Nora actually doesn't feel satisfied during her duties, which is a husband, a wife, a mother, someone inside the house, takes care of everything surrounding, but not outside the house, and start to reflect that she is not satisfied with this rule, and this couldn't, at the same time, this rule of wife and mother doesn't bring out all her potential. So Henric Ibsen is aware that the woman has a lot of potential inside her, and she could do a lot, but she couldn't do something like this because of the restrictions of society, because the patriarchal domination or patriarchal society they live in. her reminiscence about doing a bit of coping to pay off her debts, she feels it was almost being a man. When she tried to take a bank loan and try to save money to turn back this money to the bank, she feels that she is a man and she do something different than being a wife and a mother. She finds the experience fun. She does it secretly because her role doesn't allow her to work like a man. She did something in secretly because the society will not give her the chance to do it in public. So she does something secretly because her role doesn't allow her to work like a man. It's, in fact, the negative effect of confining men and women to stereotypical rules. Because actually the society gives her a rule and only this rule and nothing else. But so when Ibsen likes to make the woman does something different, she does it secretly because she couldn't do it in front of anyone. She is not suitable for the role of a good mother, as the maids spend more time than her with the children and she only plays with them like dolls. She is like the doll. She is like doll inside the house, nothing, no more, no less. Torvald Helmer too is a victim of society's expectations. So he likes to reflect at the same time that the male is a victim of his society, of his society's expectations. When we raise up when we raise the son or the brother or the male up. So Torvald Helmer too is a victim of society's expectations. He sees himself as bold and strong. Social conditioning is responsible for his assuming of that identity. He is built up as a strong one and controlling everything in society and has his own identity, and the woman is less than him all the time. It is evident from his conversation with Nora that he wishes that she were in danger so that he could risk everything for her sake. He likes to feel that he is a man all the time. However, when she is really in danger from Krogstad's blackmailing, Helmer proves himself only a coward and a selfish person. He starts to promise Nora when he likes to be in he likes her to be in danger, to be able to save her, and when she be put in this situation, he was not brave, he was very selfish, he is unable to fulfill the role assigned to him by society, and he only shatters the stereotype of a perfect model husband. He couldn't be a perfect model husband. He starts to break, to destroy the model of the model of strong male in the society. And at the same time, he couldn't be parallel to society's expectations. Another aspect of the play from the feminist point of view is the economic dependency of women. The woman was not allowed to work even if she wanted. She had to depend on upon her husband, father or son, for money. The work of earning money was assigned to men and be used to do the same, not because he loved his family, but as feeling proud of being the master and protector of his family. Ibsen likes to reveal the idea that when the man starts to save money and spend money on his family, this is not because he loves the family, but because he likes to be proud that he is a master and protector of this family. He calls Nora a spendthrift to symbolize her weakness in contrast to his strength. He starts to accuse Nora that she is spendthrift because he starts to bring money and she spends it in trivial things, in not serious things, to symbolize her weakness in contrast to his strength. Yet Nora acts oppositely, having both the qualities of man and woman. In the words of Amir Hussein, Ibsen, however, has carefully constructed Nora so that her independent and far-sightedness might have always shown through her adolescent capriciousness, mean that when she put in a situation, she could act, even she acts sometimes foolishly, but at the same time, she could do something which proved that she could act, use her mind. She could use her mind and she could do something from her own mind, from her own decisions, even it's a wrong thing to some extent. This mixture of wisdom and childishness is Noura's strongest quality. She uses her wisdom and childishness at the same time, two contradictory ideas, but this is to show strongest quality of Noura. It enables her to oppose the knowledge of books and the doctrines of her worldly husband, and to test by experience the social hypothesis which declares duty to the family is the most sacred. So she tries to use her mind, her wisdom, her childishness, even her negative or positive traits to prove that she is a human being and could do something if she likes to do it. A comparison and contrast can be made between two women characters shown in the play. Noura and Christine are the two models of womanhood in the 19th century as created by Ibsen. On the one hand, Noura is an uneducated, materialistic, and impulsive woman. Christine, on the other hand, is an independent and bold woman who had to work to save herself and her family. Mrs. Lind, and at the same time, Noura Helmer. Both of them are contrasted figures of women. Concerning Lind, she tries to save her family, to spend money on her brother and her mother, two brothers and her mother, and tries to search for a job in the bank, at the bank of that Torvald start to work in. Noura is a dynamic character because her character develops. Actually, Ibsen tries to show Noura as dynamic because he likes to show that the woman is a dynamic character. When she likes to be changed, she will be changed. Noura is a dynamic character because her character develops from a little lark who performs tricks for Thorvald. She develops into an independently thinking woman who leaves her husband and children to find herself. Actually, at the end, when she decides to leave her husband and her children, this actually is a very strong decision, and this shows the complete transformation of Noura at that time. Up to the end of the play, she seeks Thorvald's supervision to do little jobs like dance, breaks, or selection of her ball dress. Christine also has faced trials and tribulations in her life, and she knows about the hard world. She breaks the stereotypical mold that the society had fashioned for women, that is to be docile and subservient object of male attention. As Fatima and Lilia write, Noura resists and rejects the domestic role and acts in opposition to the social conventions and morals. Actually, Noura starts to refuse the domestic rule that the society gives it to her. The problem portrayed in the play is about women's rights as human rights. So Ibsen tries to search for women's rights, and these rights are part of the society rights, social rights, human rights. It's about the need for every woman to find out herself and stand on her feet in order to recognize the truth about herself. So this journey of transformation starts to make the truth about the woman, about Noura Helmer, and particularly, and about the whole women generally. Moreover, it's about the need of every woman for self-discovery and acting based on the truth, even though the truth is opposed to the social acceptance, and for fighting against social conventions and the search of the truth. So this kind of transformation start to give the woman a lesson that you have to fight for searching for your own identity, for your own rights, you have to accept what you have in society. You don't have to be obliged to do something and to be prevented from doing something. You are a human being. You have to do what you like to do, and you have to be strong. You have to express yourself. As a male at the same time. And this is the truth of yourself, so you have to search for and find self-discovery about you as a human being, because a woman is a human being at the end. As in Ikam Baram quotes about Noura's asserting her identity, that no appeals to books, religion, sanctity of family, or question of consciousness can stop Noura from seeking her freedom and truth. As Thorvald also fails in playing his role in protective husband, Ibsen thinks that it was necessary to make the society aware of their limited capacity to play their roles. He wants to say that these roles have been created initially only for convenience, not for compulsion. So, because Ibsen shows that the man, not all the time he could be able to protect his family, so we have to give the woman all her rights to be able to save herself when she doesn't find someone to protect her. So this is the lesson or the message of Ibsen to the society, to let the woman do what she likes to do, to be able to protect herself one day when she doesn't have a man to protect her, or a man not able to protect her. Maybe she has a man, but this man couldn't protect her, or she doesn't have a man at all in her life. Thus, it can be said that rather than writing solely for women's rights, Ibsen wrote to free both men and women who were trapped in their gender roles during this period. He saw that there was need to revolt against the conventions and moral issues of society, and he demanded justice and freedom for every human being, and he wanted to inspire society towards individualism and freedom from suppression. Another message, or behind the main message, we have something else that Ibsen likes to make the society don't start to suppress the rules, gender rules, the rules for men and the rules for women. You have to make them try to free their mind, free their capabilities, to be able to have the idea of justice and freedom for every human being, and don't restrict the person, the human, to do certain things in society, because we want to inspire society toward individualism and freedom from suppression. To conclude, the author has shown gender-specific rules in the form of Nora Thorvald and Christine Krogstad. Christine or Lind, Mrs. Lind, both of them are true. Relationships, and benched them to his advantage to illustrate the difference between conditional and absolute love. To conclude, the author has shown gender-specific rules in the form of Nora Thorvald and Christine Krogstad, or Lind, Mrs. Lind Krogstad, relationships, and benched them to his advantage to illustrate the difference between conditional and absolute love. So absolute love and conditional love, they are very important to know the difference between them. If I love someone, I have to give him the freedom, the true identity. I will not control this person, because this is, something like a true love, not conditional love. The play deals with the difficulty of maintaining an individual personality, the feminine personality, within the confines of stereotypes, social rule. That the play can be called the feminist one, as it articulates the female voice in the play, and it aims at a woman's struggle for assertion. So Ibsen likes to save the society or solve a problem of society's issues, which is equality, to search for equality between men and women, and to give the woman the ability to be strong, to be self-determined, to be a normal human being. She has to have economic and social equality with the male. At the same time, he likes to reveal a message to the male that he should change his mentality in this patriarchal society. He should believe in the mind and in the woman, that she is a totally human being. She could do everything when she is put in a situation, and don't be restricted to the model of the society which they oblige you to do it all the time. You have to use your mind, you have to use your heart. You have to, when you love, you have to love truly. When you love, your love should be true and not be a kind of conditional love. So believe in the woman, believe in her abilities, let her do whatever she could do. Don't restrict the gender rules. Everyone should do something according to his mentality and his as a human being, you have to do something as a human being in life. Don't look at the female as an inferior object. She is a human being, and this was the message of Ibsen in the play of A Doll's House. I should ask you to, if you find any other examples in the play to show feminist ideas, you have to follow them. But we start to mention the most important ones. Seeing you next video.